Tonight, we bring you a story of contradiction and controversy. A story about wealth so vast it could transform an entire nation, yet a wealth that so many say they will never touch. This is the story of Burkina Faso's gold boom. A gold rush that has propelled this West African nation into the record books and ignited a national debate about justice, fairness, and the promise of prosperity. According to official figures released this week, Burkina Faso has achieved the highest gold exports in its history, $10 billion in a single year. It is a figure so large that it almost defies comprehension. $10 billion. The kind of wealth that could fund hundreds of new hospitals, build thousands of modern schools, electrify every village and pave every road. Yet despite these astronomical numbers, critics argue that most citizens have seen little change in their daily lives. In towns and villages across Burkina Faso, life remains a daily struggle. Families ration food. Mothers walk for hours to find clean water. Teachers wait for salaries that never come. And all the while, trucks loaded with gold leave the country every day, headed to refineries in Europe, Asia, and beyond. This is why the debate over Burkina Faso's gold has become more than an economic discussion. It has become an emotional reckoning, a question of national destiny, and for many, a question of betrayal. President Ibrahim Traoré has promised that this record revenue will be used wisely. In a speech last night, he declared, "The era of exploitation is over. We will ensure that every ounce of our wealth serves the people." Yet for millions of Burkinabe, these promises sound familiar. They have heard them before. Promises that gold would transform their lives. Promises that profits would lift the country out of poverty. But year after year, the struggles remain. Let's look at the numbers. Since 2010, gold production has tripled. Exports have reached historic highs. Yet, Burkina Faso remains among the poorest nations in the world. According to the World Bank, more than 40% of the population still lives below the poverty line. So where is all the money going? Critics point to a familiar pattern. Government elites, foreign investors, and powerful mining corporations control the wealth. Contracts negotiated behind closed doors. Profits routed offshore. And local communities left with pollution, deforestation, and crumbling infrastructure. It is a story that resonates far beyond Burkina Faso. From the diamond fields of Sierra Leone to the oil wells of Nigeria, Africa has struggled to break the curse of natural resource wealth. Some call it the paradox of plenty. Others simply call it exploitation. For those working at the bottom of this golden pyramid, life is perilous. Every day, thousands of miners descend into tunnels with little more than pickaxes and hope. Some will not return. Respiratory diseases, toxic chemicals, and tunnel collapses claim countless lives each year. And when tragedy strikes, compensation is rare. Listen to this mother's voice. "My husband died in the mine. They told me there was no money for me. But every day, gold leaves this land. Where's the justice?" Her story is not unique. It is shared by families across the country. This year, the protests have grown larger, louder, and more determined. Thousands have marched in the streets, demanding transparency and fair distribution of revenues. Hashtags like #GoldForThePeople and #EndToExploitation are trending on social media. And the anger is spreading across West Africa. Young Burkinabe are using platforms like TikTok and Twitter to share videos exposing poor working conditions and calling for reform. One viral video shows miners emerging from a dark shaft, covered in dust, exhausted, and empty-handed. Millions watched, shared, and commented, "This is modern slavery. This is not development." Meanwhile, foreign companies defend their investments. They argue that mining creates jobs, builds infrastructure, and contributes taxes. But critics counter that the benefits are too small and the costs too high. Environmental groups warn that mining has left rivers polluted with mercury and cyanide. Communities displaced without fair compensation. Landscapes permanently scarred. This is the hidden price of gold. A price paid not in dollars, but in health, dignity, and lost futures. Yet there is hope. President Traoré has pledged a new era of accountability. He promises to use gold revenues to fund renewable energy projects, modern hospitals, and free education for all. In recent weeks, his government has signed agreements to audit mining contracts and publish detailed reports. If delivered, these steps could mark a turning point. Experts say that transparency is the key. When citizens know where the money goes, When corruption is punished, and when investments are shared fairly, natural resources can become a blessing, not a curse. Imagine what $10 billion could achieve. Clean water for every village, modern schools and hospitals, power for every home. This is the dream so many Burkinabe are fighting for. A dream that gold could finally deliver, if the will and the courage exist. As one young activist said, we don't want charity. We don't want handouts. We want what is ours. And now, we want to hear from you. Backhand index pointing right. Do you believe Burkina Faso's gold boom can finally end poverty? Backhand index pointing right. Will transparency and reform make the difference? Or is this just another false dawn? Speech balloon, tell us your thoughts in the comments below. YW checkmark if you believe Africa deserves fair wealth and dignity. Please like this video. Bell subscribe to One Africa News Network for in-depth reporting and powerful stories from across the continent. Loudspeaker, share this story with your friends, because the world needs to know what is happening in Burkina Faso.